Kiryu from Yakuza and Trevor from GTA 5 who would win. We're gonna compare in detail and see who's the true champion. First, raw strength. Kiryu Kazuma is a legendary figure in the Yakuza universe, known for his exceptional combat skills and superhuman strength. Throughout the series, he has consistently demonstrated the ability to overpower multiple opponents simultaneously and perform feats that defy human limits. His intense training in various martial arts styles, coupled with his unwavering determination and sheer physical prowess, make him an unstoppable force. On the other hand, Trevor Phillips is undoubtedly a formidable character in the Grand Theft Auto universe. He is depicted as a highly volatile and unpredictable individual with a penchant for violence. However, while Trevor possesses impressive physical strength and resilience, his combat abilities are primarily centered around firearms and improvised weapons. In a one-on-one hand-to-hand combat situation, Kiryu Kazuma's extensive martial arts training and sheer brute force would likely give him the upper hand. His ability to endure and dish out immense amounts of punishment, combined with his superior fighting techniques, would likely overwhelm Trevor Phillips' raw strength and unpredictability. Additionally, Kiryu has consistently proven himself against some of the most formidable adversaries in the Yakuza universe, including powerful crime lords and even supernatural entities. His unwavering determination and the ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds further solidify his status as a dominant force. Therefore, based on the comparative analysis, I would crown Kiryu Kazuma as the winner in terms of raw strength. His extensive martial arts training, superhuman physical abilities, and unwavering determination make him a force to be reckoned with, capable of overpowering even the most formidable opponents like Trevor Phillips. Now, battle IQ. Kiryu's battle IQ stems from his extensive training in various martial arts disciplines, and his experience in countless high-stakes battles throughout the Yakuza series. He has honed his ability to read situations, anticipate moves, and adapt his fighting style accordingly. Kiryu's tactical prowess allows him to analyze his opponent's weaknesses and exploit them effectively, often turning the tide of battle in his favor. On the other hand, Trevor Phillips relies more on his raw aggression, unpredictability, and improvisation during combat situations. While he is undoubtedly a skilled and formidable fighter, his battle IQ is largely driven by his street smarts and willingness to employ unconventional tactics. Trevor's ability to think on his feet and adapt to changing circumstances is commendable, but it may not always be as refined or calculated as Kiryu's approach. Personally, I find Kiryu's battle IQ to be slightly more impressive due to his disciplined training and ability to remain composed under pressure. His strategic mind and tactical awareness allow him to anticipate and counter his opponent's moves with precision, while Trevor's approach, although effective, may be more chaotic and reliant on sheer force. However, it's important to note that the margin between their battle IQs is relatively small. Trevor's unpredictability and willingness to employ unconventional tactics can often catch opponents off guard, evening the playing field against more disciplined fighters like Kiryu. Ultimately, while I would give Kiryu the edge in battle IQ, both characters possess formidable combat intelligence, and their respective strengths and approaches make for an intriguing clash of styles. But one thing that is very important is experience. When it comes to experience, Kiryu Kazuma undoubtedly holds a significant advantage over Trevor Phillips. Kiryu's life has been defined by a constant struggle against formidable opponents, honing his skills and battle-hardening him in a way that few can match. I would argue that Kiryu's experience is unparalleled, spanning decades of intense combat against the most powerful and dangerous individuals in the Yakuza underworld. From his early days as a ruthless enforcer to his later years as a reluctant hero, Kiryu has faced a relentless onslaught of adversaries, each more formidable than the last. Throughout the Yakuza series, Kiryu has clashed with legendary crime lords, skilled assassins, and even supernatural entities, emerging victorious time and time again. His battles have not only tested his physical prowess, but also his mental fortitude, forcing him to adapt and evolve with each encounter. I cannot overstate the sheer breadth and depth of Kiryu's combat experience. He has mastered numerous martial arts disciplines, from the brutally effective Baji Quan to the graceful and deadly dragon style. Each battle has served as a crucible, forging him into a living embodiment of combat mastery. In contrast, while Trevor Phillips is undoubtedly a seasoned and dangerous individual, His experiences pale in comparison to Kiryu's lifelong dedication to the art of combat. Trevor's exploits, while impressive, are often marked by chaos and opportunism, lacking the structured and disciplined approach that Kiryu has honed over the years. I would argue that Kiryu's experience extends beyond mere physical confrontations. His deep understanding of the criminal underworld, his ability to navigate complex power dynamics, and his unwavering sense of honor and loyalty have all contributed to his unparalleled combat prowess. Now you might be wondering if Trevor has any advantage over Kiryu. Well, he do technically. Trevor Phillips' most significant advantage over Kiryu Kazuma lies in his complete lack of moral restraint and his unhinged, unpredictable nature. While Kiryu operates within a strict code of honor and principles, Trevor is a wild card, willing to cross any line and employ any tactic, no matter how unethical or cruel, to achieve his objectives. I would argue that Trevor's craziness and absence of a moral code make him an incredibly dangerous and formidable opponent. He is not bound by the same rules or conventions that govern others, allowing him to unleash a level of brutality and ruthlessness that would make even the most hardened individuals hesitate. Trevor's mental instability and disregard for societal norms mean that he is entirely capable of committing acts of extreme violence without remorse or hesitation. He has demonstrated time and again that he is willing to go to any lengths, no matter how depraved or unethical, to achieve his goals or simply to satisfy his own twisted desires. This lack of moral boundaries translates into a significant advantage in combat situations. While Kiryu may hold back or show restraint in certain situations, Trevor has no such limitations. He is willing to exploit any weakness, employ underhanded tactics, or engage in outright sadistic behavior to gain the upper hand. Trevor's unpredictability also works in his favor. His erratic and volatile behavior can catch even the most seasoned opponents off guard, as they struggle to anticipate his next move or comprehend the depths of his depravity. Trevor's willingness to inflict harm on innocent bystanders, or use them as leverage or human shields, adds another layer of complexity to any potential confrontation. He has no qualms about exploiting the vulnerabilities of those around him, creating a constant state of uncertainty and psychological pressure for his adversaries. Personally, I believe that this lack of moral restraint and unhinged nature make Trevor an incredibly dangerous and formidable foe. While Kiryu's honor and discipline are admirable traits, they can also be seen as limitations in the face of an opponent who is willing to employ any means necessary, no matter how unethical or cruel. But it is important to note that this very lack of moral boundaries can also be perceived as a weakness. Trevor's unstable and erratic behavior, while intimidating, can potentially lead to recklessness or poor decision-making in high-stakes situations, which a disciplined and focused opponent like Kiryu could potentially exploit. Nonetheless, Trevor's craziness and absence of a moral code remain his most significant advantages, as they grant him a level of unpredictability and willingness to engage in any act, no matter how depraved, that could potentially overwhelm even the most skilled and principled adversary. But still, Kiryu gonna win. It's not even close in my opinion. But what if weapons are involved? Look, if we're talking about a straight-up shootout, Trevor's got the edge, no doubt about it. The dude's a certified madman with guns, and that's putting it lightly. He's handled enough heat to make even the most seasoned soldiers sweat. Trevor's not just some punk with a piece. He's a freaking force of nature when it comes to firearms. Pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, you name it. He can handle them all like they're extensions of his own limbs. The guy's marksmanship is on another level, and his willingness to pull some crazy stunts and unconventional tactics would leave Kiryu scratching his head. But here's the kicker. Trevor's got no moral compass whatsoever. He'd have zero qualms about using excessive force, playing dirty, or even dragging innocent bystanders into the mix as human shields or hostages. That kind of ruthless, no-holds-barred approach could be too much for Kiryu to handle, especially with his honor code and all. Now, don't get me wrong. Kiryu's no slouch when it comes to handling firearms. But let's be real. His true strength lies in his hand-to-hand combat skills and martial arts mastery. Putting him up against an unhinged gunslinger like Trevor in a full-blown shootout would be like asking a samurai to fight a modern-day sniper. The odds ain't exactly in his favor. That said, if the situation were to shift into close quarters or Kiryu could get his hands on Trevor, that's when things could get interesting. Kiryu's adaptability and resourcefulness might just give him a fighting chance. But in a pure gunfight, Trevor's the one you'd want watching your back, even if he's liable to stab you in it later. So, yeah, when it comes to a good old-fashioned shootout, Trevor's the man. His skills with firearms, coupled with his complete disregard for rules or human life, make him a force to be reckoned with. Kiryu's a legend in his own right, but against Trevor's brand of chaos and firepower, even the Dragon of Dojima might have to think twice. So we are done. Now let me know in the comments what you think about it. Do you believe Trevor can pull an upset versus Kiryu Kazuma? Also, if you enjoyed the video, then please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.